Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Lisell Travel's Tuesday Happy Hour. We haven't seen you guys in a while, so we're glad that you can join us. And you might notice it's not just my face today, but it's also LuAnn Lisell on your screen. I've asked her to join us because today is a special day. Today we're celebrating the 11th anniversary of Lisell Travel. So I'm going to interview LuAnn. I'm going to put her on the spot for just a little bit. But LuAnn, before we get started, you want to say hi to everybody?
Hello, everyone. It's nice to join you. I've been watching Melissa live and in person whenever I can see her.
All right, so let's start out with question one. What led you to start Lisell Travel? What started this journey?
I think what started this was, it goes way back to when you and Shannon were both little and doing choir tours at church, putting together those different venues across the country. And I realized how much I enjoyed it so much. And then starting to do some student groups, and then starting out obviously not with no agency, and then hosting into an agency. And then finally, about 11 years ago, decided it's time to do my own thing.
And I'm glad you did, or I wouldn't be here. All right, so speaking of how it started 11 years ago, you mentioned working through a host agency before starting your own. How has Lisell Travel grown in the last 11 years?
I think, first of all, the big thing is the number of people. And we're still a very small family-owned and operated business, but it was just me. And so it was just me doing everything. And then I, brought on an independent contractor who's also a good friend, and I worked with at the other agency. And you obviously were always working with me and Shannon, and now we've added a couple more people. So it's just been people-wise grown. And when I look at the number of bookings, it has grown from, I think that first year, maybe 40 bookings the entire year. And that was two of us doing that. So not very, very small. And that kind of grew into, last year, I think we had 328 total bookings. So that obviously well over 1,000 people that we were working at. So it's definitely grown.
When you say that 328 bookings, but that's over 1,000, how does that equal that for those people maybe not in the business?
Sometimes for each booking, there's one person per booking. Sometimes it's a family of 5. Sometimes it's a group of 70. Sometimes it's a couple, that type of thing. So we look at each individual booking, and then we kind of build it from there. So we service many more clients than just the number of bookings.
Good. It's good for people to kind of see that behind the scenes, what we're doing.
Exactly.
All right, so we kind of talked about this, estimated the number of clients that we handled last year. So is it fair to say that we've probably helped 9,000 to 10,000 in the past 11 years?
I think easily.
It's kind of amazing to think about.
It is. And of course, so many of those people are repeat clients, because the business, one of the things I'm very proud of is that the business has really grown based on repeat and referrals. So that's where our clients come from.
Absolutely. So talking about the clients and things, what is your favorite part of the job?
I would say my favorite part of the job is really taking someone's vision and making it a reality. So they decide this is really what I want to do. This is the kind of experience that I want. And this is what it's either on my bucket list or it's a family thing, whatever it is, but it's taking their travel vision and designing a trip to go with it.
So let me follow up on that. What is one of your favorite trips that you've planned?
I love groups. I love cruises and I love groups. And if I can combine the two of those, whether it be river or ocean, I'm all about that. I like the details. I like getting to know all of those people. So I would say my favorite group, especially recently, was one that I did for a local church. And it was the Mediterranean. It included 3 days in Israel. We did pre, we did post, and it ended up being for about 140 people.
Wow,
And
I'm
that
so
just, yeah, I mean, I love that. And obviously you were involved in that as well, especially when it came time to put together those final documents and booklets for everyone. And everyone had different air and different different post. And you and Shannon and I spent hours that day pulling
we
everything
our
together.
wine that night.
We deserved our wine that night. But that's what I really like, that culmination. And of course, I really like it as well when it's a group I can travel with.
I was going to ask because I know that you frequently try and travel with groups. It just depends again on scheduling, but I know that that was definitely a great experience and a unique experience, not a normal Mediterranean cruise.
Exactly, exactly.
All right. So in your opinion, what is Lisell Travel's greatest accomplishment over the last 11 years?
I think probably the greatest accomplishment is really just our growth and being able to bring the clients back, to keep our guests happy and satisfied. I think also just our own growth, our own personal growth. The more we've been able to travel, the more we've been able to really help design these trips for people.
Mm-hmm.
So for us getting out there, I like that. When I think of what I thought I knew 11 years ago, or even the 10 years before that, being in the travel industry for 20 years, it constantly changes. And I think that it got to the point, maybe when I started the agency, I realized how much I didn't know. And so the constant education on our part, whether it be working with the different suppliers, and then also taking the agency from really finding its own niche, so to speak. And we typically work with the premium and luxury client. That has been the area that we go into, and each one of us has our own area that we like to deal with. But we've got a good blend of people and a great group of travel partners that we work with.
And people may have guessed this based on the interview, but what is your niche? What is your area that you like to work in the most?
Groups. Well, I love groups. Definitely love groups, but it's all about the cruising for me.
Absolutely.
Definitely, I want to spend as much time as I can on the water.
So I'm going to throw something out there that we haven't discussed, but why don't you tell everybody the longest you've spent on a cruise ship?
That would be 5 weeks.
And were you ready to get off at the end, or were you still loving it?
No, I definitely could have stayed longer. In fact, it was a combination of a couple things, as you well know. So the first 2 weeks was the first week was a river cruise. And then I think that was in Bordeaux, and I flew to London and got on a ship there, and then did a crossing, and then 2 more back to back. So 4 weeks on the same ship. But that last week, so the 5th week, I was joined by you and the rest of the family, which was really fun.
That was a really neat experience. I'm not sure if I could do 5 weeks, but I'm willing to try.
I'm ready to go back right now. In fact, I think probably my favorite FIT that I've grouped, or fully independent, is when I booked my first world cruise. Because I'm so envious. It ends up being a cruise that lasts about 3 months. And there are different itineraries. And when I had the opportunity to schedule that for a client, I looked at that itinerary and just said, I want to do that. So that is on my bucket list.
I think that's important too for our clients to know that we have bucket lists and it's constantly changing. And we always try to check off 1 or 2 new items because, like you said, experience is what helps us help our clients more. So speaking of that, what is your next trip?
Well, the next trip on the books, like everyone in this time frame, we all had scheduled travel as well. And we had a Caribbean cruise canceled, a Hawaii trip canceled, Toronto canceled, and a Florida trip canceled. So the next thing that American says I have on the books is in September. I have a Portugal river cruise. It hasn't canceled as of yet. I'm hopeful. Portugal and Spain are opening well. Everything is open there. But of course, we know it just depends on how soon they're willing to let people from the United States travel there. So I'm hopeful. But, if that doesn't happen, then we have another cruise in the Caribbean, a couple weeks in the Caribbean in October.
Okay. Well, for those of us that do know you, we know that September or October are really far away for you. You're normally not home this long. I know this is the longest I've been home in years. So is there a chance that you're going to sneak away before September or October?
Absolutely. As soon as I can, as soon as I can. It looks like Mexico is opening so good, and I know people are traveling there now. So that's probably the next place that will go internationally. You know, of course, I'd like to do some traveling in the US just to visit family, but I think that we'll try to definitely sneak in Mexico before then.
All right. Well, guys, I just want to say thank you again for joining us. LuAnn, thank you for being my first guest on Happy Hour. I hope you guys all have a great Tuesday and a wonderful week. It's officially feeling like summer here, so get outside and enjoy. When you're ready to travel, we're here to plan. So we look forward to talking to you guys soon. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.